If you're about 3 to 6 months out and putting your home on the market, these are 4 tips that I recommend you consider to prepare your home and also to help you put more money in your pocket. Hey guys, Israel Favela here with Clearview Realty. So I'm gonna jump into 4 tips that are gonna help you prepare your home for the market. And also these tips are gonna help you save money in the long run when your home is actually on the market. So let's jump right into the first one. So the first one is what you think as a seller is minor and low cost in repairs is just, it could be a fortune for the buyer itself. So just to kind of give you some examples, so there's 5 things that I've noticed whenever I walk into a home that when buyers look at them, they automatically think, oh man, this is gonna be thousands and thousands of dollars. So instead of just removing that headache and maybe them low bidding you or asking for, obscene amount in concessions, which means they're gonna ask you for repairs or for closing costs, whatever the case may be, to avoid that and to have your home prepared, these are the things that I recommend to have fixed or to look at just to make sure that it doesn't cause any obstacles at the end. So the first one is sheetrock. So the sheetrock itself, there could be some dings on the wall, sometimes in the back of the door. Whenever the door is open, it ends up bumping against the wall and ends up being a hole in the back of the wall, or whatever the case. Whenever you own the home, it's inevitable there's going to be some sort of scuffs in the wall, but I do recommend you repair that, because if the buyer's not really aware of how to repair a sheetrock, they're going to automatically think that it's going to be an insane amount in terms of cost. The next one is stains on the carpet. So if you can get a professional professional company for them to clean the carpet itself, remove any of the stains that they can, that's going to be another added cost that isn't extremely expensive, but it can be extremely expensive to the eyes of the buyer. The next one is the molding in the baseboard. So when I sold my home, I had a dog and a lot of the hair just accumulates on the baseboards. And a lot of times that's one of the first things that we see whenever we're walking in, especially if they're white. And then I noticed a lot of times the gray walls with the white trim is very popular right now. So I recommend just to kind of get down in there, just scrub it or repaint it, just make sure that it's clean, that, it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of work that's going to be put on the side of the buyer. The next one is the paint itself. So that one's pretty self-explanatory. I recommend for you to go with a neutral tone, earthy tones that pretty much the majority of the people are going to be okay with. At the end of the day, they're going to end up painting it whatever it is that they want. But if it's just like absolutely crazy colors, I do recommend, if you're about 3 to 6 months out, for sure, paint the walls and something that's more neutral, more common in colors. The last one is leaks. So this one's a huge one. Of course, fix the leak itself, right? That's a given. But if there's any like residue left, like for instance, if you have a 2-story home, or if you have a leak from your roof coming down to the ceiling and your walls and inside the house, a lot of times it leaves a water stain. And if you've already repaired it, a lot of times they walk in and they see that there's a stain on there. And a lot of times it deters a lot of buyers and thinks that there's a leak and they're not going to disclose it, what's going on. We automatically think the worst whenever we're coming into a home and we're purchasing it, rightfully so, because it's a big investment. So I recommend to have the leak fixed, and also the stain itself, the cosmetic feature of it, that just make sure it's cleaned up or painted. The second thing that I recommend you do is not to have any major projects. If you're 3 to 6 months out and you want to install a pool or change the air conditioning, if you want to do an addition, these are major things that you're not going to get dollar for dollar amount. So for example, if you do an addition and it costs you about $5,000 to $7,000 to get this addition done, you're not going to get the $7,000 tacked on. It doesn't work that way whenever they're doing an appraisal. And at the end of the day, it's the appraiser that's going to determine how much value is going to be, how much value the home is worth, right? So HVAC as well. So it could cost about $7,000 to $10,000, and a lot of times they only give you credit for $3,000, because that's just the way the market works. Whenever the appraiser is determining how much value to give them, other homes may have evaporative cooling. Yours has refrigerated air. They're going to tack on maybe a portion or a fraction of it. So if you're planning on doing major repairs, I advise you not to. If you're about 3 to 6 months out, I would recommend, if you're going to do it, to enjoy it, at least enjoy it for about a year or 2 or more. And if you're going to sit there, be at the home for that long, then I recommend for you to, if you want to get the refrigerated air, or if you want to get a pool, I recommend you enjoy it first and then sell it. But if you're about to sell it 3 to 6 months out, I don't recommend you do it. Now, this jumps into the next one, which is if you have unfinished projects. Let's say, for instance, you have an addition. Now, this is really a case-by-case basis. So if you really have an unfinished project, let's say, for instance, an addition, it all really depends on the flow of it. It also depends if it's ventilated, if there's any HVAC system or cooling system in there. So these are the things that the appraiser really considers. And it's kind of going back to the first one. So if it's really, in frame, you still need to develop the room itself. It really depends on how much you want to put into the home, because this could be a deterrent. Whenever people are going to see the home, they're going to think, oh man, I have to finish this workup. And if it's very minor in nature, by all means, I recommend you not to do it, because you're going to save more. But if it's in a condition where it is deterring a lot of buyers from actually them putting an offer or putting a reasonable offer, I am going to recommend for you all to finish the project. So it really depends on what stage you're at with the unfinished project. The last one is the shrubs. So if you're planning on selling during the springtime, the summer, maybe even the fall, I do recommend to get your grass and your landscaping all in order. I know a lot of times we have some trash that we've been wanting to throw, like maybe some tires or whatever the case may be, just kind of stored off in the back. I recommend to have the best first impression that you can, especially at the front of the yard whenever you're taking pictures. So just clean out, start watering, start taking care of the plants that you have there. And this goes without saying, right? But a lot of times when we're about 3 to 6 months out, we really don't think of these things, but this is going to be just work wonders whenever you put it on the market and they see the pictures. It's going to draw so much attention. It's going to draw so much activity within your home. People are going to want to see it and just submit offers just left and right. So once again, if you're about 3 to 6 months out, I recommend to really consider these 4 options. And if you guys have any other questions, if you're thinking about selling your home, I can give you more or less of a market analysis. Feel free to reach out to me. But other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye.